Hi, my friends. Rusty with you here on this late Saturday afternoon. We are live. We are tracking strong and severe storms moving across Central Florida, especially developing across the I-4 corridor at the hour. We have our sea breeze collision occurring, and these storms will be impacting Metro Orlando and other areas. As we get started, CFLW is sponsored by the Lien Law Firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys, offering a free consultation and policy reviews. They'll walk you through that insurance claim process. Check them out by going to lienonmelaw.com if you would like more information. We have a nasty storm moving right over the western side of Orange County. I want to take you immediately to the west side of Orange County. This is a live look to our Winter Garden camera, and this is a stout storm moving through places like Oakland and Winter Garden and Ocoee, back down towards Hamlin, even towards the Western Way area, down 429 and Margaritaville. This storm does have a special weather statement with it. Winds could be gusting up to 50 miles an hour and even some smaller sized hail. Ton of lightning with the storms developing right now as these sea breeze collisions get going. These storms going to be cropping up and getting on the stronger side. Good to see everyone on this late Saturday afternoon. I hope you're doing well. Let's jump into what we're seeing right now. And again, this special weather statement, storms are developing just east of Lake Apopka, basically right down 429 from the Apopka area towards Oakland, Ocoee, and Winter Garden. Again, winds of 50 miles an hour. The collision of the sea breeze is really kicking up the winds. It's a little bit hard to tell from our Winter Garden camera. I'm telling you right now, these winds are definitely gusting at around 50 miles an hour. Just expired as I came on, there was a severe thunderstorm warning for mainly Lake County. I think it snuck into the far western sides of Cibolo County. That has been allowed to expire. The northern part of this line, as the collision is getting going, has weakened a little bit, but additional cells are cropping up as we speak over other areas of Orange County. And you can see our live cameras. A little bit earlier, just 15 minutes ago, there was a good shower over the Conway area. But again, right now in Winter Garden, western Orange County, it's a nasty storm. Winds 50, maybe some quarter-inch size hail. If you guys live in these areas, let me know. I mean, obviously, hot day. A lot of folks out and about. Why not? It's summer here in Florida, but we got to be cautious of these storms for the remainder of the next couple of hours. Again, our sea breeze collision occurring just west of I-4. Additional storms are likely to develop along that collision boundary back into portions of Polk and Hillsborough counties. We've already had some decent storms up in Marion and Lake County. There was a severe thunderstorm warning for the Ocala National Forest a little bit earlier, and then an extremely large special weather statement for areas up to the north. It does include northwest sides of Flagler County, all the way up towards Jacksonville. So just a massive special weather statement there. Again, strongest storm right now, tracking very slowly off towards the east. This storm is basically just developing, but through the rest of the 5 o'clock hour, if you guys live on the west side of Orlando, get prepared to get pummeled by a very strong storm. Winter Garden as we speak. Apopka, again, you know, it's getting impacted, but slowly creeping to the north and to the east. Ocoee 543, Windermere 554, Gotha 556. Based on that, they can't have much forward speed. It's east at 8 right now. The special weather statement will go until 545. And again, additional cells developing out ahead of that. So, good storm here, guys. Going to be bringing some folks in. Got to watch out for the lightning as well. Realize I don't have my lightning data on, so let me bring that on. Right now, when that pops on, that'll tell the other part of this story. Within this cell, what do we have? About 300 lightning strikes in the last just 15 minutes. So the cluster of lightning right now is extremely prominent over Ocoee, Winter Garden. Nearly 200 lightning strikes in the last 20 minutes. Plant Street, hopefully everyone's getting inside there. Maybe head to the Crooked Can Brewery. Just getting a brew, letting these storms pass on by. Now, because the collision is just occurring right now, the movement of these storms is basically nothing, right? This is where we could get some very heavy torrential downpours and some localized flooding. Eventually, the sea breeze storms will begin to try and march back off towards the east, but as this collision is occurring right now, the storm movement is quite slow. Jump into the chat. First time, hope everyone's doing well. Hey, John the Beagle, how you doing? Finally got some rain down in Fort Myers. I love to hear that. Thanks for letting me know. Good afternoon, Jared. Hope you're having a great day. Hello, Noble Pills to you. Hey, Amy, saying got Nasty fast in Winter Garden. Yes, indeed. Okay, so you got some hail in Orange County, heading east, trying to outfit to get back to Metro West. Can see it in the rear view. Okay, thank you. Deltona, not in the clear. Nope, you guys are seeing thunderstorms off towards your west that are going to try and work their way back off towards your area. These storms are likely, J-Man, to move further off towards the east. Yes. Hey, Larry. Hello, Russ. You got a heavy downpour earlier. Lasted only a few minutes. Thanks, Larry. Let me know where you're viewing from. I appreciate that. Riverview, only getting tons of thunder. Okay, back down to our south and west. It's been good, really, to see some of the Tampa, St. Pete, Manatee, Sarasota County areas get some of that. And there is a new special weather statement down here as well. It does include some of our area like Lakeland and Mulberry on over towards Brandon. There's Gibsonton right now. Where are we? In the Riverview area. So, I mean, near Gibsonton is Riverview. So we're just short of this area here. But thank you for that. Again, potentially a few more storms in that region. Plant City, Brandon included in that with some gusty winds. With that special weather statement, and again, what's the big story with this? Look how long this statement is. Look how many areas will be impacted. By the way, with that particular special weather statement, which does include portions of Polk and Hillsborough counties, back down into portions of Manatee as well, you're looking at nickel-sized hail, 0.88 inches. That is the threshold to have some damaging hail in some of these areas. So if you do live in these spots, take that storm very seriously. The hail size, at least right now in the Metro Orlando area, not as strong, but notice how this is just lining up. Very sharp line. That's a lot of wind associated with that particular cell. Again, slowly going to work its way off towards the east. We'll go back over to our live camera out of Winter Garden. You can clearly see the lower base to the storm. That's the back edge of it. In just the last 10 or 15 minutes, the most significant part of that cell is sliding along 429 and working its way off towards the east. Right now, the lightning's a little bit more prominent along 4029 and just east. So you get back to downtown Winter Garden, it's still nasty, but hopefully improving a bit. Again, this camera is looking off towards the west, so we should see the storm clear as we go over the next half hour or so, but it's going to take some time before it gets there. Was in St. Pete. You got it. Lots of lightning indeed. Appreciate everyone tuning in on this late Saturday afternoon. I hope you're doing well. Nice to see you again. Let's check out some of our other cameras. One that already had some rain and is likely to get additional showers and maybe even a stronger storm is going to be our Conway cam. We're going to monitor that Conway cam very closely for you guys as well. Obviously, we have to keep a close eye on our Lake Buena Vista camera there in the Disney area. You can see some of the thunderstorms off to the south right now. Again, this camera is just 1 mile from the Magic Kingdom, the Disney property, so always a great camera to monitor this time of the year, summer months, daytime, a lot of folks out and about. Really have to pay attention to, how that is going to be playing out for the next couple of hours in those areas. Again, in the short term, I'm expecting these storms to be very slow movers. They'll begin to slowly drift off towards the east, expanding in nature from time to time as these sea breeze storms hit other outflow boundaries, either from the collision of the east and the west coast sea breeze or old outflow boundaries from the last few days. Additional stronger storms are likely to develop. We are in a marginal risk today. We've had not a marginal risk from the Storm Prediction Center, but just an overall marginal risk for severe storms to develop along our sea breeze collision. We've had a few of those already this afternoon. Right now for Western Orange County, it is a special weather statement just below severe thunderstorm criteria with winds of 50 and some quarter-inch size hail. And again, that will last for the next 17 minutes. You can see the impacts on your screen very clearly. This is the summary of that special weather statement. Again, slow movement off to the east, but really it's kind of just expanding in nature right now and beginning to drift east, and it should pick up some forward speed. Orlando, Apopka, Altamont Springs, Ocoee, Winter Garden, some of the areas likely to be most impacted by that storm. But if we just zoom in, you can clearly see many other areas of the west side of the metro are going to be impacted, including Windermere, Lake Butler, Dr. Phillips, the Oak Ridge area, Millennia, Metro West, Gotha, Orla Vista, eventually towards Holden Heights, Delaney Park, downtown, including the Lake Eola area, Pine Hills, Fairview Shores, Eatonville, Lockhart. Not that long away from this storm getting in, and we do have at least the opportunity for a little bit of hail associated with that. Again, already got one report of potentially some smaller hail out of this. Can't rule that out. If you do live along the I-4 corridor, storms haven't gotten your way in Orlando yet. Not a bad idea if you can to get the car inside. I'm not expecting the hail to go crazy today, right? I'm not expecting there to be significant hail, but could there be enough of a size to this hail where we would have to at least get close to the opportunity to have some property damage, including roofs and cars? Yes. Have a chance, get them inside. I'm expecting coin-size hail at worst today. Quarters would be the highest, but I think we're likely to stay in that dime to penny size. Hopefully just some pea-sized hail more than anything. We get up to nickels with that other special weather statement down south. Then you start running into the risk of, getting some property damage with that hail size. Amy says the lightning is relentless. Again, appreciate everyone tuning in. Thanks for taking a quick second, hit the like button and subscribing. Again, interactive channel. I'm only on where there's active weather and I'm live, and I love to hear from you guys. Thank you for letting me know in the chat what's been going on in your area. Again, you do have a question. I'm happy to get to it as I can. Our moderators are here as well. You'll see them in blue. If for some reason you got a question, I haven't quite gotten to it, but the moderators are paying attention. One of them will jump in and try and answer that for you. You want to forecast for a specific area, happy to oblige with that after we cover, of course, some of the storms going on. Now, clearly you can see that we have a tremendous amount of special weather statements to our south and west. This is likely one of the biggest boxes of a special weather statement I've ever seen. I mean, it's what? I don't even want to fathom it. Is it 150 miles long? This is one special weather statement, guys. So you can see that the Weather Service is like, okay, we got the sea breeze boundary, doing its thing right now, and wherever that sea breeze boundary is going to occur, we're going to have significant storms. I just have to, out of curiosity's sake, see how big this special weather statement is. Now, there's two boxes. This one box is about 121 miles long, and the overall is about 137. That's tremendous. That's, what, 7, 8 counties probably included within that? So, this is the this is the give and the take of being a forecaster in Florida this time of the year, right? You get these kinds of storms. They're hard to delineate from themselves, and they're just going to fire up these special weather statements or severe thunderstorm warnings for very large areas. Interesting. All right, if you're just tuning in right now, it is 5:31. We do have a special weather statement for the west side of the Orange County area until 5:45. It's winds of 50. It's some potential quarter-inch size hail. It's a heck of a lot of strong, gusty winds. South side of this looks to be a little bit stronger right now. More lightning count. You can see that, about 150 strikes right now. South and east of 429, Windermere towards Lake Butler. Obviously a very nice area of Orlando. Hopefully not a lot of larger hail here, but a ton of lightning that's going to run some folks in. I would expect this additional thunderstorm, and it does look like they extended this a little bit farther off towards the east, didn't they? This special weather statement was west of I-4, and now they've brought it a little bit east of I-4. So our camera in Conway here will likely be one that will get overrun with some potential nasty weather coming out of that Lake Butler, Windermere area. We'll go back over to our triple box cameras. Make it a little bit larger to see. Sebring right now, I think within that special weather statement, I think you guys are just to the east of that. But likely, again, these storms are colliding right now. They'll merge. They won't move very quickly, but then they should backbuild off towards the east in general. The question would be, of course, the farther east that you live, the sea breeze has already come through. Can these storms hold together as we get deeper into this late Saturday afternoon, early evening before sunset, and they die back out, right? So how far east towards I-95 are they really going to pull? I even wrote it down at the bottom of the screen. Our greatest coverage is likely to be I-4 today, all right? And again, doesn't mean we won't get a few storms out west. Lake County, Sumter County, maybe some of our west coast. We've had better rain overall among our western areas the last few days, but I certainly am favoring, based on what I've seen with the sea breeze storms and how they propagated today, that they're developing just west of I-4, but they'll likely march back off towards the east. So we're likely to see a general east movement once these storms show any forward speed. But the problem is when these sea breeze collisions get like this, these storms can sit over one area for a fair length of time. And this is when we start to get the flash flood potential in some of these areas, because you can get 2, 3, 4 inches of rain in an hour. It's going to cause some problems. Back into the chat. Good to see you, Don. Hope you're well. Hi, Blue Goose. Appreciate you tuning in. Hope you're doing good. Hey, Chelsea, good evening to you as well. No rain in Spring Hill so far today. All right. Well, sorry to hear that. Hope everyone's doing good. Got a little bit of a hydration drink. I was outside myself today. Now, for anyone curious, if you haven't seen, there actually is and what this yellow polygon is, there's a slight chance that we could have some tropical activity next week just east of our area that I'll be monitoring. It's just a 20% chance. I don't think it's going to get strong. I think there's a lot of dry air as a old frontal boundary comes off. Something could spin up and try and work its way back west towards our east coast, towards Georgia's coastline. We're several days down the road, but I have the tropical layer built in to my system on this particular map, so it's going to show up. So I just want everyone to be aware of what that is. If you had not heard, there is a 20% low risk of a potential weak system out there, and we'll monitor that for you guys. Obviously, if there is any kind of tropical situation in Central Florida, I'll be covering that live, but when you see that over my head, that's what it is. Time to cut the grass again. Hi from the village. How you doing? Muskypotamus. And again, appreciate everyone tuning in for today. I hope you're doing well. Watching these sea breeze storms getting going. At this point in time, we don't have a severe thunderstorm warning, but earlier this afternoon, we did a couple of areas, including up into Lake County. That part of the cell has died a bit. It was over the Eustis, Umatilla, Mount Dora area, but what has taken over is this particular part of the cell, which is just slowly kind of grinding its way off towards the east. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do a new track on this one. I'm going to take this into a couple of chunks. Now, based on what I'm seeing right now, the way that this storm is holding together, we are likely to get a reissuance of the special weather statement after 5:45, if not even a potential severe thunderstorm warning. Notice how cells on the south side are beginning to develop and merge into this. So potentially the next area to get under a special weather statement or severe thunderstorm warning would be down south of Lake Buena Vista, including Four Corners and Celebration, back down towards Davenport, Polk City. You know, again, here's your clear line from the sea breeze collision. Potentially they could just fill this box that's missing right now with a special weather statement, because this is where we've had the most prominent development over the last half hour. But let's track out this together. Again, 5 to 10 miles an hour is all this is moving right now. So the torrential rainfall in the western side of Orlando is a potential situation. So let's get into that. All right, I just want to make sure it was working. You guys know that I have a finicky relationship with this thing. So I'm just going to take this basically in half. And we're going to go out, I'm going to go out 10 miles an hour. I think that's probably how it's going to average in the next half hour as it picks up a little bit of forward speed. I am most concerned about the southern part of this cell right now, which is the areas that I just drew out. So here we go. Metro West, 548. Orla Vista, 554. The Millennia area around 6 o'clock. Obviously, look, it's summer. Millennia to I-Drive, Lake Buena Vista, just so busy. Locals, tourists, you name it. It's just a crowded area for us. So keep that in mind. Pine Hills, the same situation, 601. Oak Ridge, 604. Sky Lake, 614. The Pine Castle area, 621. Makes it into downtown Orlando at 622. Then Delaney Park at 624. And eventually out towards our Conway camp at around 636. Again, the main threats with this cell are going to be winds of 50 miles an hour and some quarter-inch size hail. Hopefully it doesn't get any stronger than that, but sometimes these sea breeze cells, as they're kind of on the march, they can pick up a little bit of steam. And they can pick up a little bit in the way of just expansion as well. I mean, clearly the cell, and you can see it from the Lake Buena Vista camera, is beginning to become a little bit stronger, higher reflectivity, better lightning, maybe even some small hail down there towards Four Corners. On the north side of this, we're beginning to sneak in over the Apopka area. Showers and storms over Apopka. Again, special weather statement here. We do have Wekiva Springs included in that. So let's track this northern part out together, again, at around 10 miles an hour. So I think this just continues to drift off towards the east. And again, with my system, we can literally go to the street level. We can go to each individual area, and you will get a specific countdown by the second based on the timing of that storm when it's moving into your area. Look on the left-hand side of your screen, you'll see the information box. Lockhart 5:55, Wekiva Springs 5:57, Forest City near the top of the hour, Fairview Shores 6:16, Eatonville 6:17, Altamont Springs 6:18, Maitland 6:22, Fern Park 6:25, Longwood 6:29, and Castleberry Inn at 6:32. So many areas here along the I-4 corridor and west, and even some off towards the east, likely to be impacted by this special weather statement. Here, my hope is that the winds will begin to diminish a little bit on the east side, and the storm will not be as strong as what it was from, let's say, the 408 south. But certainly, again, if you live in these areas, you know, Apopka, Maitland, Lockhart, make sure that you stay weather aware, guys, with that particular cell. The worst part of this storm right now is over the Windermere area, Lake Butler, Bay Hill, Arnie's Place, about ready to get hit pretty hard. Same thing for Dr. Phillips, likely to move into Tangelo Park, Oak Ridge, and Millennia within the next few minutes. Metro West, a beautiful area, also included in that. Just double checking that. Let me bring these on. I'm going to bring on our wind gusts again just to monitor that. 25-mile-an-hour non-thunderstorm wind at the airport. Scattered light rain developing over MCO. They're going to get under an airport warning, all right? Airport weather warning. With the cells off to the west, we're likely to have some departure and arrival delays at MCO. Jumping back into the chat. Again, appreciate everyone. If you want to become a member of the channel, you can do so as well. Our memberships are open. You get access to exclusive badges and emojis. Our members will be in green, so you'll see that in the chat. Our moderators are in blue. And again, appreciate you guys taking a quick second, hitting that like button and subscribing. Both of those things help out the audience to the channel. Let's get into our cameras for us here. We're going to start off with our Lake Buena Vista camera. We're watching the storms building to the south. It's an area that I think is going to get worse over the next half hour. And of course, always a concern because thunderstorms over the attractions area, summer months in the afternoon, never goes very well together. Obviously, a lot of folks are out and about there. We'll swing over to our Winter Garden camera. Still raining pretty good right now in Winter Garden. Again, because we're looking off towards the west, we can see the clearing. So at least right now, we can just tell that there's a little bit of forward speed with this storm that's just slowly moving off towards the east. Now, if you live along the 429 in western Orange County, there could be ponding on roadways, even the 429, other areas, county roads, Plant Street, just places like that. But also a flooding of low-lying areas, maybe your side streets, maybe in between homes. You know, especially some of the newer neighborhoods, homes are so tightly packed together that drainage is never at a premium these days. And so you got to watch out for some of that stuff. I'll monitor the situation for any potential flood issues. We'll take a look at the rainfall rates coming up in just a second. But again, it's not so much that this storm is producing 5 and 6 hour rainfall rates per hour. It's that it's not moving anywhere. And that's a problem because it's been a half hour and things just haven't really progressed. Conway cam looking east right now. Again, that's just fine, but that camera is pointed the opposite direction of where the storms are coming from for today. So this will be a camera that will get run over by the storms as they cross I-4 and move into the eastern and central sides of the Orlando metro area. All right, back out to the big perspective. We'll go full with it here and track these storms. Oh, it is summertime. You know, it's a good idea, obviously, stay inside, let the storms roll by. It is the classic sea breeze. It's just a little bit more prominent today. These storms fired up very nicely along that sea breeze boundary. And the wind and the extremely strong winds and the heavy rainfall have been the primary threats so far. Let me drop off our radar product real quick and bring on our precip amount product. And we'll take a look at the rainfall rates right now. And anywhere on this product that you see black and blues, those are rainfall rates that are going to be above 3 and 4 plus inches per hour. So you notice that we're probably in this 2-inch per hour rainfall rate right now in some of these areas in kind of the pink to purple colors. So it's significant from Winter Garden and Gotha on up towards the Apopka area and 429 and 441. But a little bit farther south, you start to get into even heavier rain. East of Hamlin, south of Lake Butler, moving into Dr. Phillips, pretty good cell over the Windermere area right now, about 2.5-inch rainfall totals. The worst part of this is right over kind of the attractions area, right? 192 Western Way here off of the 429. So Margaritaville down here, 4.5-inch per hour rainfall rates. That's a nasty cell. And again, south of here, we've had a couple of storms that have filled in that have also been producing 3 and 4-inch rainfall rates per hour. Down south, it's a little bit harder from this particular cell, but you get the idea. And then even way down here, I mean, Fort Myers down here on the southeast edge of that special weather statement is now a severe thunderstorm warning. So it's pretty spotty through most of this special weather statement for now, but could fill in a little bit more. And it's not going to shock me if this area ends up getting a special weather statement. We'll see. Now, you can clearly see also that our special weather statement right now is counting down. So we'll see what the Weather Service wants to do with that particular cell. Again, only wind and hail size are the criteria for severe thunderstorm warning and special weather statements. You can have prolific flooding rains and you may not have a special weather statement or a severe thunderstorm warning. They will cover that with flood advisories and with flash flood watches and warnings. If I look at the current advisories that are in effect right now, I don't see any flood advisories. If we had a flash flood warning, that would immediately pop up on my system. If we have special weather statements, that would be a different story. So this one again is going to expire right now. My system hasn't picked it up just yet, but 5:45 it goes away. Local storm reports, just making sure we didn't have anything here. We did have some down in Hillsborough County a little bit earlier. Here's one at the Lithia area, kind of southeast of Brandon, with a 40-mile-an-hour wind gust there, and a little bit of hail, nickel-sized hail there. And oh boy, Weama, don't know that one. Pretty good with our names here in Florida, but that one's new to me. Nothing else. Didn't see any storm reports out of the severe thunderstorm warning in Marion County and the one in Lake County either. So that's good news. So they did issue a new special weather statement. Just to also make sure we're clear with everything, there is a severe thunderstorm warning up here for, it looks like, Alachua County. Maybe sneaking into Putnam or into Putnam and sneaking out of Alachua County over the Palatka area. So Blue Goose, storm to the south and west of you there in St. Augustine. And the new special weather statement, again, as I've been mentioning, it's the south side of this cell that is taking over with the strongest part. So new special weather statement, as expected, in effect right now. It's going to go till 6:15. It's the same situation, 50-mile-an-hour winds and some quarter-inch size hail. Winter Garden still included in this. Orlando, Windermere, Bay Lake, Celebration, some of these areas. Let's get you the actual bulletin from the National Weather Service office out of Melbourne. Strong thunderstorm will impact southwest Orange and northwest Osceola counties through 6:15. Doppler radar tracking a severe thunderstorm over the Bay Lake area, moving east at 5. That's the problem, guys. It's slowly moving. Winds of 50 and some pea-sized hail. So again, we can typically manage pea-sized hail just fine. It's not going to cause damage to roofs. It's not going to cause damage to your cars. Could it knock off some leaves of vegetation? Yes. The winds would be the threat, maybe knocking over some tree limbs and some power potential with that situation. But the hail size right now is something that we can manage. My radar did show the sea breeze boundary, Michael, and we can look at that on a loop in a minute. But that collision has already occurred, so now it's been taken over by the reflectivity of the storms. But yes, earlier today I was watching the East Coast sea breeze moved in. The West Coast sea breeze had made Lake County East Coast sea breeze moved just west of Orlando, and I said, okay, here we go. So I was like, I just started getting ready ahead of time. I was like, I know I'm going to be coming on pretty soon because this sea breeze collision is likely to be pretty good, and fired up with those severe thunderstorm warning and special weather statements. No rotation in the storms, Don, right now. Not a major threat. Look, whenever you do get collision of sea breeze boundaries, you can't rule out a little bit in the way of rotation with them. But the atmosphere is not extremely unstable, especially at the mid-levels right now. I'm not overtly concerned about there being a lot of rotation with these storms. The main threat is just going to be, of course, with the slow movement of the storms, they're going to be producing some heavy rainfall and the really gusty winds. Just as a note right here, you can just clearly see everything is broad from our velocity product. There's nothing tight. The winds near each other aren't significant. So with this particular cell, which is the strongest in the town right now, no rotation. If you wanted to see the sea breeze, let me do that real quick for you. So if I bring on the composite product, it's not going to be as, because we're past a half hour, may be a little bit harder to see here on this composite. It is. I don't know how much we're going to get out with just the last half hour. For like resources, I have the last half hour of our actual NextRed individual sites because they are extremely resource intensive. But we'll see. It might be hard to catch. You can see a little bit here, but I promise you earlier in the day, this is what marched right in over the area. And we've seen that on stream from time to time before, but right now the sea breeze collision has basically occurred across our entire area. This is why these storms are lining up in somewhat of a jagged line, but lining up in kind of a line right now, because that has been the catalyst for all these storms for today. If the sea breezes did not interact, we wouldn't really have a lot of coverage of storms, and they wouldn't be as strong as what they are right now. But we got a pretty good collision out of things. There will be more prominent collisions at points in time during the summer. I can promise you that. If you're just tuning in right now, there is a special weather statement for the southwest side of Orange County. I believe it does sneak into Osceola County as well. Let me give you the updates on that. It does into northwest Osceola County through 6:15. Again, winds of 50 and some pea-sized hail. Orlando, Winter Garden, Windermere, Bay Lake, and Celebration. But I'm not going to leave my other friends hanging as well. Let's do a storm track. At 5, huh? All right, hang on. Let me just reset this real quick. Again, that yellow area is a potential development region for next week east of us. Something to monitor. Not overtly concerned about it being on the southwest side. 20% chance. It's that time of the year. 5 miles an hour, guys. Now, it's not moving quickly, but we've got a pretty dense area of Metro Orlando coming through. So these are the areas that are likely to be impacted by this special weather statements through about 6:30. It's Champions Gate area at 5:56, Metro West at 6:05, Celebration 6:10, Tangelo Park 6:16, Millennia 6:28, and the Oak Ridge area in at 6:34. This will then get over towards MCO, Meadowwoods, Hunters Creek, Buenaventura Lakes, Kissimmee, Campbell, Belle Isle. Does look like potentially the worst part of that cell's just going to miss our Conway cam. It's going to likely run right over our Lake Buena Vista camera. And again, at the bottom of your screen, the Winter Garden camera, seeing the back end of this working its way through. I feel like they just did something with that polygon as well, but I could be wrong. Again, the lightning, so significant right now. 350 lightning strikes on the leading edge near Celebration. The opportunity for some hail. Really low in chance, but the actual statement does include 1/4 inch size hail. Now again, this cell is moving maybe at 20, but the whole line is not moving very quickly, and that's probably a misnomer that the cell is actually moving that fast. Additional cells are likely to develop ahead of this. The entire line is trying to build south and west. deeper into northern sides of Polk County. So Haines City, Polk City, Davenport, I-4, more lightning strikes here. Scattered rain towards Lakeland. It gets a little bit worse back down here near the Ruskin area, which is actually where the Tampa radar site is. So there's pretty good storm over the Ruskin area and where Tampa Airport, the Tampa radar site is. Rest of Hillsborough County, including Tampa, looks pretty good. Rest of Pinellas County is pretty fine as well. Again, the opportunity for an isolated shower to develop off towards the west today, but these storm movements, once they actually pick up a little bit of forward speed, are likely to work their way back to the east. So if you are tuning in from the rest of the Orlando area, this cell and storm are trying to head your way. The question that I have is, how potent are they going to be and how long are these storms going to last as the sea breeze collision has occurred and they're kind of moving away from some of the energy? We could potentially see some of the areas to our north continue the weakening trend. It's not bad right now for Apopka. If you live in places like Lockhart and Maitland and Altamont Springs and Castleberry, Winter Springs, Lake Mary, Oviedo, even up to Sanford, this is going to be non-severe weather coming through. Some decent rain, maybe you could use a little bit more. It's not a bad thing. Obviously, it's running folks in. Still can't rule out a little bit of lightning. Maybe you didn't want that on a Saturday afternoon. You want to be outside doing some fun activities, but let this storm pass you by. Late hours of daylight this time of the year. We just passed the summer solstice, so you might even get a little bit of dry weather to kind of wrap things up. And then here's our storm. The most prominent part of this is Windermere, Lake Butler, Dr. Phillips, Lake Buena Vista, some pretty nasty weather down here. And again, our Lake Buena Vista camera catching that for you guys. Hey, Michael, how you doing? Welcome to the Storm Squad. Let's get the hearts out in chat for Michael becoming the newest member here of Central Florida Weather Live. Again, you get access to custom badges and emojis. Probably the coolest thing is you get access to exclusive member short videos. From time to time in between these live streams, I will put out some short videos for our members, giving you guys my behind the scenes thoughts about what I think the setup might be, when the next potential for severe storms could happen, when I next might be on. Because again, this is a live only channel, so to have that interaction with you guys in between these live streams, that is for our members, and I appreciate Michael joining the newest member here of CFLW. If you guys wouldn't mind doing me a favor, a very simple way to support the channel, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button for me. Again, that of course is always going to be free, but it helps out our audience more than you guys realize. For this channel, I do recommend having on all notifications. That's the bell symbol that you'll see. Remember, because it's only a live channel and I'm only on when there's impactful weather, I'm not going to inundate you with relentless notifications on your iPhones or on your Androids or on your tablets. If you see a notification from me, it's because there's some weather that you're going to probably want to tune in and keep an eye out for. To Lake Buena Vista we go. Quiet there so far. We're looking at the special weather statement down to the south towards Champions Gate area and Celebration. Again, it's close enough where be a little bit concerned about being out and about, near the attractions. Certainly lightning within 8 miles of some of those spots. To Winter Garden. Now, we've just seen the last gasp of our special weather statement storm move east of Winter Garden. Again, looking back off towards the horizon and the sunset out west. I got to tell you something, behind these storms, we might have an absolutely glorious sunset later today. Certainly an opportunity there if the skies remain clear. But at this point in time, obviously weather is improving right now in the western side of Orange County. So we're looking pretty good overall for the spots at this point. And then over towards Conway. Again, Conway kind of just on the north side of the special weather statement, just north into the east. So, we'll see if additional activity can work its way into this region. I think regardless, we're going to get some rain, a little bit of gusty wind, and some lightning to move across downtown Orlando and the Conway area, which is just south and east of the downtown Orlando area. So would expect there to be, a little bit of weather to check out from that Conway cam. And again, right now that special weather statement is in effect. It does go for the next 17 minutes until 6:15. How's everyone doing? Overseer Prime says, this is much needed rain. I hear you. We are still desperate for rain. I will take a ton of rain every day that doesn't flood us, and that doesn't bring us severe weather. Obviously in Florida, it's hard to get both, right? You get them a lot of simultaneously here with our sea breeze storms, but we are desperate for more rain. We could use 20 to 30 more inches outside of what we would typically get. That's how much into a drought that we are right now. We really have a lot of catching up to do. Noticing this little cell right here is on the stronger side. You can see that little blue icon that has popped up. So as I've mentioned, ahead of the main line, almost splitting I-4 right now down towards Hunters Creek in 192. That cell is getting a little bit stronger right now, and that one could make a run towards Buenaventura Lakes, Meadow Woods, and Medical City, maybe even as far north and east as MCO. Main movement with these cells, and I'll put this into motion, has really been kind of slowly east, but guys, this is a half-hour loop. Not much there. Just kind of sitting. So we do have to continue to watch out for any flood advisories. I'm just firing that back up. Those are all special weather statements. Now, when I look at this view, we don't get the polygons, we just get the counties, but I can see the flood advisories here on this product with our interactive radar. If there's a flash flood warning, which is the most concern, that would pop up immediately on the system. Ton of lightning, 450 plus strikes with this. Weather going downhill right now. Celebration I Drive, look, even the Epic Universe area, right? Nasty storm rolling through there. Kissimmee, gonna cross 441. You got the Turnpike down there, that's 91 on my map. And then OBT and JYP. Yeah, welcome, Michael. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate all those who have found other ways to support the channel as well. You can do so at your leisure if you'd like to. Oh, no doubt about it, Don. You can absolutely get. Sometimes it's slow with notifications, miss most of the show. Sorry to hear that, Zigzag. Not much I can do about that except maybe just reset your notifications, maybe turn them off and then turn them back on. But I get you. I wish I had more control over that, but one of the things I can point you to is just the easiest thing to do is to make sure you have them on and hope that you actually get them. Hey, Gaming with Jamie, good evening to you. Nautilus, I think we would have to have a significant amount of rain. Like the 20 to 30 inches is what we need on top of our normal rest of our rainfall for the rest of the summer months before we hit the drier season. I mean, we're going to want to get a lot of this through by the end of September. We really start to begin to dry out October into November, and then after that, we're relying on cold fronts, and it can be very sparse. For anyone who is new to Florida or is tuning from across the country or the world, which happens, we have friends in this chat who tune in from various other areas and countries. There is a distinct wet season and dry season here in Florida, especially the peninsula with our sea breeze storms. These are localized storms. The east and west coast sea breezes will tend to march inland with the heat of the day, and if they can collide somewhere inland or even pinned along the coast, we typically get some pretty good thunderstorms to get going, and along that collision is where we typically have the most prolific storms and the largest coverage. That today, just west of I-4, marching back off towards the east. Now, this cell certainly is losing some of its punch up north. I'm glad to see that. You guys know when a storm is starting to behave itself, I say the trend is your friend, and I do believe that that is the case up here. Now, I would love for some of this rain to hold together and get back into central and the northern sides of Metro Orlando. That would be a fantastic thing because we desperately need the rain because we're not likely to see this regenerate. Everything is coming out of the south as far as the clean air and the more moisture-laden air right now. And so just like it has been, it's the areas south and east of where this cluster of storms is that's likely to hold on to the highest opportunity to continue to see some stronger storms throughout this late Saturday, I don't know, I keep saying Friday, this late Saturday afternoon and into the evening hours, 6 o'clock right now, we'll call it early evening. So back down, notice it's building more into Four Corners and Champions Gate, Loftman, Celebration, Campbell, 17, Turnpike, 27 interchange as well. Always busy, always congested, getting up towards the attractions. I-4 is always a slog up in these spots. So got to monitor that situation for you guys. So notice the Conway cam. Try and reset that for you here. There we go. Hey, listened. El Niños can actually bring Florida wetter summer months too, because the jet stream is typically a little bit farther off towards the south and into the Gulf, and typically will pick up a little bit more moisture over our heads and can enhance the daily sea breeze storms. So the El Nino does help our wet season in an enhanced variety. Now, again, if you're just tuning in, you might notice this yellow polygon over my head and just off of our east coast. If you haven't heard, we do have an area of potential tropical development next week in this region. What is likely to happen is a cold front is going to come off, and we could have some genesis along that boundary with it actually retrograding or moving back towards the west. So basically developing here and then moving off towards the west, back maybe towards our north coast or Georgia's coast. Look, at this point in time, I don't expect it to be significant. The Hurricane Center put a 20% chance on. I think there's a lot of dry air in play. We're going to be on the southwest side of this thing, which is not the most prominent side, right? Our winds will be kind of swing back out of the west or the southwest. It could pull in some moisture. It could aid in some rain chances. Now, that's one aspect of this, but the secondary aspect is that other part of the boundary is likely to drape over the area Monday and Tuesday. And I do expect enhanced rain chances, non-tropical in nature, for Monday and Tuesday. It may not be a lot of severe weather, but it might be the kinds of rains that we need, right? Just some good soaking rains, let it get into the ground, let it soak in. We don't want the rainfall rates to be exceptionally high because we, have too much runoff when that's the case. But Monday and Tuesday could be more widespread showers and storms and some decent rainfall totals to help things out. Then we'll see if anything gets a little bit squirrely off towards the east. Obviously, if it does, I'll be covering it for you guys live right here. Yeah, no, listen, I agree for the most part with your statement there. The Google DeepMind has picked up on it, but the Google DeepMind was a little bit more prominent with some of the Arthur stuff as well. European Ensemble's been very aggressive so far this year, but overall, the last couple of years, the AI models have handled the situations pretty well. We'll see how they do this year. Again, you guys got a question about the forecast, let me know in the comment section below. This special weather statement goes for the next 10 minutes until 6:15. Nasty weather. I want to check out if there's any hail out of this. That's the next thing I want to do. Anytime you see these fuchsias, that's really high reflectivity. All right. So there's a couple different products I can look at here. First, I want to see if this is pinging anything. I don't, and I like to just zoom out to make sure this product's actually working. So either it is not, or we don't have any hail potential whatsoever. So there's a secondary product to use. Yeah, and this is showing some. Now again, this could be a little bit ingested with the rain, but if there is a hail core right now, it is right over I-4 in Celebration, just south of 192. Obviously, beautiful area. Size-wise, could we be over a ½ inch? Maybe. Special weather statement is for a ½ inch. A ½ inch is going to be kind of in your yellows and your greens on the outside. This color palette is just like reflectivity. The greens and the yellows are your lighter or your lower sizes on this product. As you get into the reds and into the purples, you start to see higher. And then if you get into blacks and whites, then you probably have some damage to your property if you're over those colors. But right now, the potential for a little bit of hail associated with that. If I look at severe hail probability, so this is the opportunity that this hail is large enough to cause problems. It's good to see that we are in the extremely low 1% category. So this is likely pea to dime size, if nothing else. But again, pretty cool product, right? You can sit here and say, look, okay, I get it. There's some hail, but for my friends in Celebration, what's the likelihood that that hail size is going to cause property damage to anything? And it's about 1% right now. The hail's just not big enough. So those who might be hearing hail, if that's happening right now, a little bit of a sigh of relief there, likely to not be big enough to cause any problems. Just looking at what we call hail track, I just was curious to see where this potential hail core developed. Ignore that number. I mean, I guess it, the farthest north and west would have been like over 429 in Western Way and then back into Celebration. But it has picked up a little bit here. Now, anywhere else in our area with potential hail? Does not appear so. Maybe towards Palatka, a little bit around Palatka. For some reason, you happen to be watching from Palatka. Good storm over you. Special weather statement for the next 21 minutes until 6:30. Amy says, Metro West, Dr. Phillips area is dark, some rumbling, but not much rain as of yet. Again, appreciate you guys keeping the comments coming, keeping the chat beneficial, letting everyone knowing what's happening in your area. Again, the north side of this has really fallen apart pretty quickly, right? Just scattered rain right now from 408 north, Winter Park, Maitland, Altamont Springs, Lockhart, south of Popka, Pine Hills. Break in the action, and you can see that now in Winter Garden. Overcast skies, but that's about it. And then thunderstorms, much more concentrated southwest Orange County. Looking at the actual statement, again, east at 6. We're slowly pushing this thing, but really slowly. Winter Garden right now, for the most part, is out of the worst of it, but Windermere, Bay Lake, and Celebration all included. Now, the other thing about this cell, too, is that it's definitely expanded a little bit off towards the east. And you can see the building of that now back over the south side towards 417 and the 192 interchange. And then maybe as far north as the beach line, up 92 as well. So Hunters Creek area, this all could fill in. Still a tremendous amount of lightning. Anyone living in this area, let me know. I mean, 600 lightning strikes in 15 minutes. This cell has not died by any stretch in this part. The north side has definitely come down in intensity, but not here. I mean, this is a nasty, nasty storm. And again, you notice that this line is filling in. I mentioned, I believe it's areas to the south that are likely to see these cells continue to develop and propagate and have some strength as they move off towards the east. And a very, very slow variety. And I'm always going to be checking here just to make sure that we don't have any flood advisories. All special weather statements right now. Again, this will be your county view. We've got our live cameras on the left-hand side of your screen. Double check the local storm reports. Still looking good there too. Blue Goose says, booming in Jacksonville, our southwest St. Augustine is fizzling. Yeah, these storms are coming up and down. There's no doubt about it. Certain areas will hold together. Other areas will die out as the energy gets choked out from that storm, right? Not the entire line is likely not to just keep going. The outflow boundaries will undercut certain aspects of that line of storms. Typically speaking, with a situation like this, it's the southern flank that continues to grow. Now, if this part was lined up just due south of this would likely be choked out as well. But right now the air is clear, if you will. There's no thunderstorm activity just due south. And so this part just continues to grow as the sea breeze continues to march off to the west. This is still kind of the leading edge of the sea breeze down here. It, still is causing some problems. And they have issued a new special weather statement, which in my opinion is not surprising whatsoever. Now, notice that they've done two things with this special weather statement. The new one that will now be in effect until 6:45. The first thing is they upped the winds to 55 miles an hour. So now in northern Osceola and southern Orange County. Now we could have some winds pushing severe thunderstorm criteria really close. 60, severe thunderstorm warning. Anything less is a special weather statement, but it's kind of, shaving some close hairs there. But they did get rid of the hail part of this. So hopefully that what we were looking at there was just some very heavy rainfall. But I'd still be concerned about some pea-sized hail. They typically won't issue, if they think it's just going to be the smallest hail, they're not going to issue for that aspect of it, but still have to, watch for some small hail being produced out of this, because these storms could still pulse up and get on the stronger side from time to time as well. Reset that Lake Buena Vista camera, and as you can see from the Lake Buena Vista camera, the showers and the storms have now been able to work their way over this spot. So now we do have some wet weather in Lake Buena Vista in the attractions area, going along with some of the thunderstorm activity. So not a great, late afternoon, early evening here in the southwest side of Orange County. So if you know anyone who does, part of the attractions, either as a tourist and they're going and they're visiting, or you're going back down there, for the fireworks displays later today, give it a little bit of time, right? Just let this storm pass you by. I don't expect a lot of development behind that. I think everything else will be just fine. But for now, kind of wet and stormy. Don, there's been no rotation whatsoever with any of these cells. I've mentioned it as a little bit earlier today. I don't expect there to be. Now, every so often you can, with sea breeze collisions, get some rotation to develop within some of this. But at this point, that has not been the case. And it's all been straight line winds. So they've been cooperating or behaving with that aspect for us here. So we will see our one special weather statement, which goes farther north, expire in 4 seconds, and it will be replaced by one that doesn't go as far north anymore, right? So it's not going to include the downtown Orlando area. Special weather statement, though, large area, 30-minute time frame, 55-mile-an-hour winds. Let's track the leading edge of this right now. Let's do that. Let's see here. Again, I'll go 8 miles an hour or something like that. It might be 10 by this point, but it's not much. So here's how this is going to impact our area. Hunters Creek, 619, Campbell, 629, the Kissimmee area in at about 630. We've got Meadowwoods at 640, Buenaventura Lakes in at 643. So again, that thunderstorm, the worst part of it is along and east of I-4 at this point in time, and will continue to work its way off towards the east as we move over the next half hour. Would expect this storm to hold together and be the part of the storm that will stay the strongest. Generally speaking, a little bit farther north that you live from this, that cell is dying a fairly quick death. However, south of there, now into the northern side of Polk County, it's getting worse, right? And it's a situation that you have to watch out for in the Davenport area, back down towards Haines City. Likely to be a problem there for the next little bit, no doubt about it. So that's potentially the next area that we could actually have another special weather statement, because it does look like along 27 in these spots, it's beginning to pick up a little bit more. Lake Alfred, Haines City, Davenport. But where the actual special weather statement is, again, Campbell, 622, 623, 630 here, where 92 meets 192, about 13 minutes. So if you kind of live on the north, or basically the central sides of Kissimmee, or 192, 500 meet, it's about 13 minutes away. Within that area, winds of 50 to 55. Again, that storm building back down to Winter Haven. So this is the new part that is likely to get stronger right now. Even a little bit of hail being pinged by the radar. They've got 3/4 inch size hail here. So here it goes, just west of 27 down there. Yeah, Amy, downtown Orlando north did for sure. Celebration area, Lake Buena Vista got hit pretty good. Winter Garden, western areas got hit As that storm developed, it was a pretty potent storm to begin with. Remember, it wasn't moving much. So it produced some really heavy rainfall. And as those sea breezes are colliding, you can get some really gnarly winds that are going in all different directions as those sea breeze storms get going. I got to tell you something, if you haven't experienced yet, it's certainly an interesting thing to be right overhead where the sea breezes collide, because they can really do some nasty business. I mean, the winds can really pick up with some strong gusts, multiple directions as the sea breezes are beginning to interact with each other, and some absolutely torrential rainfall. So if you haven't experienced that, it's a sight to behold, no doubt. Blue Goose begging for some rain. Hey Larry, how you doing? Likely to not get back into Pinellas County. The sea breeze line is working its way farther west, the deeper into the state that you go. So we've had some pretty nasty storms get even south of Ruskin, maybe trying to cross over the bay, but likely not to get a lot more activity in your area. I'll show you the movement of that. You can see there's a little bit of west push here, but it's also almost trying to bend back south as it does. It literally might be, if you live in the St. Pete area in the southern tip of Pinellas County towards the Skyway, you might catch a little bit of this activity. If you live Indian Rocks Beach North, Clearwater area, likely to not get some rain. I can't rule out a rogue storm, but I'm not anticipating to be a lot of back building north and west from this line. Notice that everything is kind of, just marching its way in a more southwest fashion down here. But certainly the sea breeze got inland quicker farther south. So the storms have actually been a little bit more prominent in the southwest side of the state on the western side, and then back up into central Florida. It's been more the I-4 corridor than anything else. And you can see that these cells have marched together. Really what has happened here is, although there's a bit of an easterly movement to all of the activity, the cells have just continued to build south, right, into that clear air where we haven't had storms and we're not congested and the air still is unstable. So slight movement east, but the whole part of it is also building south as it does slightly and slowly move off towards the east. All right. Again, the lightning count with this is absolutely amazing. A little surprised, and it may just be from our view, that we haven't seen more lightning out of the Lake Buena Vista camera. But you've got 750 lightning strikes in this view in the last 15 minutes. That's it. That's it. Now, one thing that's a good piece of information is that it does look like MCO is going to miss this cell as it tries to basically kind of push to the east-southeast. Not under the special weather statement. Lake Nona looks okay. Conway looks okay. You can see that from our live camera in Conway. Medical City is close. But I'm expecting this to kind of head this way now, based on what we've seen on those radar loops. Hunters Creek, maybe Meadowwoods, Buenaventura Lakes, certainly Kissimmee, St. Cloud. Some of the next areas to likely be most impacted. So I kind of have it more like this now. So if you're living in the Kissimmee area and you're tuning in, you got a few minutes, you look off towards the west, it's a pretty nasty cell coming through. From time to time, there's been a potential history of some very small hail out of that. More than anything, just some really heavy rain, a lot of lightning and some winds that could still be peaking up to 55 miles an hour. So damaging winds, primary, most widespread threat. Again, appreciate everyone tuning in. Give me a quick second, hit that like button for me. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button for me as well. Again, live only channel. I'm only on when there's impactful weather across Central Florida. Hope you guys are enjoying the coverage. Hope you guys are enjoying our live cams. We will continue to bring you guys a lot of different views and perspectives. We have a lot of different graphics and programs to show you guys, and we're adding onto our camera network, and we hope you are enjoying that. Again, once we get more cameras up, we've got a lot more graphics to show you guys. This is going to be from Conway in Winter Garden right now, so our split screen view. Again, areas that either are seeing the worst weather move away or just kind of got skirted by the worst weather right now, but not a bad end to the Saturday in these spots. The overcast skies still in Winter Garden, but a peak of the sunset there on the bottom of your screen. And as always, CFLW is sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. They offer free consultation and policy reviews, and they'll walk you through the insurance claim process. Check them out by going to leanonmelaw.com for more information. The QR code works. If you want to take your phone and scan that QR code, it'll take you to the website. Check them out. You want to support someone who supports the channel. If you're interested in sponsoring the channel, like the Lean Law Firm, you want your information in this screen and throughout our live streams, you can email us at mymediamundo@gmail.com. You can see that email address at the bottom of your screen right now. Also, you can find another email address on the channel. It's cflwlive@gmail.com as well. And again, do appreciate you guys hitting that like and subscribe. Yeah, Amy, it's a pretty good storm that's going to be heading to Kissimmee, no doubt. I mean, this would be probably the largest area that I would be most concerned with. Still expecting this storm to be very strong over Davenport and Haines City. Notice those fuchsias and those neon colors over 27. Again, indicative of some extremely high reflectivities on my radar system. So we're either looking at extremely heavy rainfall with some smaller hail, or a little bit bigger hail size. Likely this is going to be some extremely heavy rainfall ingested within some pea-sized hail. Haven't really seen anything more than that potential hail size, which is good news. And again, we'll use some of this rain, but folks are probably being driven a little bit quicker than they want to on this Saturday early evening with just prominent lightning. And that slow speed still has me concerned about potential flood issues here. So I'm just going to continue to bring up our advisory product just in case. I don't want to miss anything, right? I will never miss a flash flood warning because that will just pop up in real time if we get there. We'll check our local storm reports. Still clear here. Still had that 40 in Hillsborough County near the Lithia area, which is south and east of Brandon. But the storms in the metro Orlando area have not prompted any storm reports out of it. We are not actually under an excessive rainfall watch for today. Our risk of severe storms is actually not categorized at this hour, I believe. This should just be the light green. It always scares me a little bit. Yeah, there's a darker green up there, because the light green is just your general thunderstorms. Your dark green is that marginal 1 out of 5 risk. Never was in the forecast for today. Nothing was ever going to be organized with this. It was just where the sea breeze storms were going to develop and how that might play out. But again, right now, Lake Buena Vista, we'll keep an eye on that camera. Celebration, Hunters Creek, slow progress east and southeast right now. Sebring. Let me check out Sebring. Few storms just to the west of you right now. Just looking at their movement. While they've developed and expanded a little bit farther east, the general movement is to try and get back to the west right now, but this is a battleground. You can clearly see there's not much in the way of any actual true movement with the cell that's closest to Sebring. If nothing else, it's actually developed a little bit farther off towards the east. So I do think there is an opportunity that the back end of this storm could build back over Sebring. It's not out of the question. I don't think you get hit the hardest. I think in general, there's likely to be more west movement than anything with this. But yeah, Sebring certainly has a chance for some storms. And you notice again that we had that special weather statement. They've let that expire for the most part now. Just like our area, the southern flank of that large special weather statement is taking over with the worst part of storms right now. And again, our 20% chance of tropical development next week. Blue Goose for you, they have lined up storms just west of you. This is a nasty storm over Green Cove Springs, south side of Jacksonville. Look at all those special weather statements. You sit there and wave at the storms. They might make a run back to you, Blue Goose. Again, you got a question about the forecast, like Bev just asked about Sebring, feel free to drop it in the comment section below. Appreciate you guys letting me know what's been happening in your area. That's always very kind too. If you live in south side of Metro Orlando, north side of the Osceola County area, get prepared for a pretty nasty storm here. Special weather statement goes for the next 17 minutes in these spots. Oh yeah, they are really lined up for you, no doubt. Had to make a call to the bullpen and get some more water. It's a hot day. It was nasty. I ran out of my hydration drink. Might have had one adult beverage before I came on, but for the most part, it was just too darn hot. The lightning is so prominent with this storm still, guys. The Cafe Bustelo? I bet you do. Make sure MCO hasn't had any wins. They haven't. Come on, buddy. You can say hi to everyone.
There you go.
Say hi.
Hey, guys.
Thanks, buddy. That's my 13-year-old. I think he had a Stranger Things t-shirt on. Oh, they are so big into Stranger Things. He looks like my wife, by the way. All right. So here we go. Special weather statement, next 15 minutes, 6:45. Good part of that storm holding together. Anywhere north of there, our cell has made a quick death. That sea breeze storm has been choked out, lost a lot of instability. Skies have cleared. You can see that in Conway. We still have overcast skies in Winter Garden. We still have the thunderstorm over Lake Buena Vista. So we have 3 different views from what's happening across the Orlando metro area at this point in time with our live camera network for you guys. And again, thunderstorms that are propagating and developing farther off towards the south. If you do live in the northern sides of Polk County, places like Davenport, Haines City, Lake Alfred, that storm is getting a little bit nastier your way. If you live south and east of where this special weather statement is, that is where it's moving, and likely you are be the next in line to be impacted by this. So there is a reporting station in Kissimmee. They haven't dropped a report since the 5 o'clock update. We'll see what wind they might get out of this. And again, the lightning is the other big story. I'll check out the velocity just to make sure nothing's getting ridiculous with this cell. So when you see these brighter greens, that's just a good push of wind. So some strong winds south of Campbell, south of 17. That's what that bright green is. It's a little ball of basically strong winds. Probably getting pushed out from the main line. They're solid. You know, they're in that 25 to 35 range. But they're nothing, you know, creeping up to 50. So hopefully we're not getting that. Yeah, Amy, thanks for letting everyone know. If you guys are just tuning in, live only channel, cover the storms here for Central Florida. Came on, about an hour and 15 minutes ago. We had multiple severe thunderstorm warnings with our sea breeze interaction for today, right? Just a good collision of our sea breeze, our localized storms this time of the year. The most prominent activity is still holding on right now. Southern sides of Metro Orlando, northern sides of Osceola County. We've had storms develop along southwest sides of the state as well. With this activity, again, the southern part is taking over and the strongest weather here. These storms have been basically slowly slowly moving east while these entire kind of lines are pushing to the south. So there's been actually more south push than east, at least over this last hour, hour and a half or so. But everywhere, or these storms should continue to move to the east. You can see the lightning there in the distance now in Lake Buena Vista. So the western areas, Lake County, Sumter County, Citrus, Hernando, Pasco, likely to remain dry. A few showers or storms could sneak into southwest sides of Hillsborough County, maybe portions of Manatee, Sarasota, Pinellas County, maybe as this cell holds together and heads towards the Skyway. Southern sides of St. Pete could catch the north end of that, but everywhere else is likely to stay dry. However, we've at least had some better showers and storms through portions of those areas the last couple days. I mean, again, not everyone's getting it, but we've had some. Again, from our Lake Buena Vista camera, if you can take a look at some of the activity there on the horizon, you'll see a few lightning strikes from time to time. That is the building thunderstorms, southern Orange County, the northwest sides of Osceola County. So kind of right on the edge of the attractions. Not too pleasant right now in the attractions area. Hopefully folks are heating and they're back inside. There is plenty of lightning around Lake Buena Vista. I just zoomed in basically to Lake Buena Vista, and I'm seeing about 40 lightning strikes in the last 15 minutes. About 40 over there. So you get the idea of, what we got. So you see that. Here's the lightning count data. Now it just updated to 78. Wow, okay. It'll go back and forth. It'll update live in real time. But down here, where the actual attractions are, certainly some lightning getting going right now. And then just further south from there, Four Corners Celebration. Remember, special weather statements, severe thunderstorm warnings have nothing to do with the amount of lightning. Nothing to do with how hard it's raining. It's just wind and hail, guys. So prolific storms, they're not producing a lot of wind, may not even have a severe thunderstorm warning on them. They typically all go together, right? All the hazards kind of elevate them, each other, if you will, within these storms. But I have seen extremely hot storms with so much lightning, and there's very little wind associated with the majority of it. So there might be a special weather statement, but there won't be a severe thunderstorm warning. Yeah, 800 lightning strikes there, guys. Just in this view. Again, wherever I move the view, the lightning count will update to show you the past 15 minutes. So well over 700 lightning strikes within this view in the last 15 minutes. What are we missing here now? Oh, I think I did it to myself. There we go. I'll bring up our quad box. Hey, Maple Magic, how you doing? About 11 minutes ago near Intersection City Point, Siena, if you go back, absolutely could be a little bit of a mesocyclone. I can maybe look at that here in a second. You can get very broad or brief spin-ups. Typically won't reach the ground, but you can, obviously, as our sea breeze collisions continue, you can still get just a little bit of that activity. Again, nothing extremely prominent, but that's not out of the question. The other thing, too, is now you can clearly see that this is beginning to produce its own outflow boundary. That's what this is. So now that outflow boundary is going to work with the storm motion and help to produce potential additional storms out ahead of this. Again, on the south side of this, the air is clear. It's still more unstable. It has not been raked by storms because the storms south of this cluster had all developed off towards the west. So if we had storms that had already developed in Polk County, this wouldn't be holding on like it is right now. But because that was not the case, and the air has been unabashed, if you will, temperatures will tell you that as well. You can clearly see south of here, temperatures have been on the warmer side. Now, where we've had no storms today, we're still in the lower 90s. And obviously, you get the rain-cooled air like Kissimmee in at 79 right now. But this is being eaten away to the north, developing south. Nothing, and just continues to develop to the south. You can see the propagation of this now even south of Winter Haven. Now, that area is not in a special weather statement as of yet. It may never get there. We are hitting what? It is 6:38. Still enough daylight, but we're not peak intensity anymore. And we have had the sea breeze come through, so the winds are a little bit different direction down there too. Game with Jamie says, outside looking at the storm to my east. Tell you what, if you're outside of that storm, beautiful look, no doubt about it. Also, again, from our cameras, we're likely to get a gorgeous sunset too. Winter Garden, you can see again, if we can clear out some of that, we might end up with what should be a gorgeous, early evening time for us here. All right. So things have quieted down a bit. As I say, the trend is our friend. We basically have one cluster of intense weather right now. A lot of us have either seen the storms come through or have remained dry for today. But about an hour and a half ago, our sea breeze collision was pretty prominent just west of I-4. So I wanted to jump in and cover that for you guys. I wish we had even a little bit more rain left over up north, non-severe, but just give us some more rain. The problem is that in this environment, you kind of get all or nothing a lot of the times. And right now, Lake Buena Vista, Hunters Creek, Celebration, Four Corners, kind of getting it all. I've been tracking this storm for a while, and it's really even yet to get to Kissimmee. Super slow movement. Not a great area for the storm to just sit. The I-4 area, Lake Buena Vista, Celebration, Champions Gate, always so slow down there. And there's likely some really nasty, weather as we're speaking. Ponding on the roadway, flooding of low-lying areas, not out of the question. Blue Goose, you just got to hold on to hope, my friend. Just hold on to hope. It might build your way before it's all said and done. It's close. Remember, we're likely to start to see this stuff in a general sense begin to fall apart a bit as we get closer to sunset too. I'm going to track this flank here. I mean, can I even go 8? I can go 8. Even at 8 miles an hour, it's not even going to reach St. Cloud by then. I even stuck it out a little bit further than where it is right now. So depending on the rainfall rates, I gotta say, you gotta be a little concerned about some pockets of flooding here too. Campbell Celebration, Kissimmee. You can take a look at those rainfall rates as we speak. That's solid rain. So anywhere you see the the blues and the blacks, that's over 3 inches an hour. These are spots that could pick up some excessive rain because the movement has also been so slow. This is the movement of that over the last few minutes, right? So this is the precip rates over the last, it's not a big loop, guys, about 15 minutes. But you can just see that it's not moving very quickly. The higher rainfall rates in the purples, or excuse me, the blues and the blacks are on the south side, continuing to develop off towards the south as well. This is actually an interesting product in a loop like this to see where the heaviest rain is moving, right? Pockets of it, notice that it's not everywhere within the south side, but pockets. But though this is where the heaviest rain is, a lot of the lightning strikes and the highest totals are actually north of that. So it is kind of a disconjointed system in the sense that you got the heaviest rain down here and then by far the most lightning up here. Again, appreciate you guys tuning in. Do me a quick favor, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't as of yet. I appreciate all of that, and I hope everyone's doing well. You got a question, feel free to drop it in the comment section below for you too. And again, appreciate everyone tuning in on this Saturday, now early evening, as we're watching these cells moving into the southern sides of Orlando. And they did just issue a new special weather statement. So again, not shocking as this cell has held together. It's not really doing much at this point in time as far as movement goes. And it's not really losing a lot of its intensity. So the fact that that's the case, they're just going to continue to expand that special weather statement. So let's get off of this data real quick. I'll bring back on our live radar. So we're just going to have a replacement of the special weather statement right now. The winds are going to go back down to 50. It's hilarious because they've basically gone back to what the original special weather statement was for, and that was for winds of 50 miles an hour and some potential quarter-inch sized hail. So they've dropped the winds down a little bit again, right? And they've increased the potential for the hail size up a bit, just a touch. So again, on this southern flank, we could see it. We could see a little bit of hail down towards Kissimmee and the Campbell areas, maybe towards Buenaventura Lakes. Still no special weather statement for areas off towards the south right now. So Davenport, Haines City, it's gnarly weather, but it's nothing that's severe. All right. It's a poppin' Saturday night. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if some spots got 2 to 2.5 inches, no doubt about it. Now, the other thing that you can tell that this storm hasn't moved much is that that special weather statement was in effect for 45 minutes, all right? And there is very little east and southeast movement of the polygon, right? I mean, it is just slowly trudging its way east to southeast right now through the 6 o'clock hour. So places like Four Corners and Lake Buena Vista have been removed from the special weather statement, but Celebration continues. So now we're looking at Celebration, Campbell, Kissimmee, Buenaventura Lakes, and it doesn't even make it as far west as St. Cloud. This is what the summary of this is for you guys. Give me just 1 second here. Hit that button and then it should pop up. All right, east at 5 till 7:15. Kissimmee, Intersection City, Buenaventura Lakes, Celebration, and the West Lake Toho areas. We'll get you the actual bulletin from the National Weather Service office in Melbourne. Strong thunderstorm impacting the northwest side of Osceola County through 7:15. Strong thunderstorm over Intersection City. This thunderstorm was nearly stationary. Winds up to 50 and some pea-sized hail. All right, so there you go. Still got to watch out for some flooding risk out of this as well. All right, Blue Goose into the special weather statement. So trying to get closer to you up there in St. Augustine, Blue Goose. It's trying. Slow go, but it's trying to get there. Again, our Lake Buena Vista camera will continue to show you the storm as we are looking south. The attractions area is just 1 mile from this camera. So it's a great camera. It's also pointed in the proper direction for where these storms are right now. So we'll see some lightning in the distance from time to time. Again, that's the other big story with this cluster, guys, is the amount of lightning. We're still over 700 lightning strikes. It just has not lost its punch yet. Yeah, let's all root for everyone to get the storms that they need. Wouldn't that be great? That would be funny. We can sit there and like literally root a storm coming in, like we're cheering for our World Cup teams, cheering for our favorite sports teams. That would be hilarious. Again, appreciate you guys tuning in. Thanks for liking and subscribing. Thank you for being a member of the channel if you are as of now. If you aren't, you can join the members. Our Storm Squad, get access to custom badges and emojis, get access to exclusive member short videos. Anytime there's impactful weather, I'm going to come on. Again, live only channel. We've got cameras through Central Florida. We're continuing to add to that camera network. Excited to show you guys some of those new cameras coming your way. And so we'll continue to bring you this kind of coverage. There you are, Blue Goose. It's just trying to build back over your area right now. I had to come and take a look. Jacksonville Beach South, special weather statements. Let's just get you some good rain. Wouldn't that be nice? Fun with weather. There you go. Guys, as far as this storm goes, there has not been much change. Does anyone live currently in this area right now? Is anyone in our Polygon, Celebration, Buenaventura Lakes, Kissimmee, Campbell? If you guys are, let me know. I'm curious as to what you're seeing. I'm curious if to anyone who's watching is actually watching in this area. Davenport, Haines City, Winter Haven, deeper into Polk County. But again, non-severe here. A lot of lightning still. Davenport's getting rocked pretty good. Haines City, kind of getting bracketed by some thunderstorms. Winter Haven, good storm there. Champions Gate on the edge. Again, fair amount of heavy rainfall here. The stationary aspect of this is a concerning thing. Still no advisories yet. Oh, we do have a flood advisory. There we go. You guys know I kept going back to this product, and it's because I just knew that at some point in time, if this thing doesn't move, we're going to get a flood advisory. All right, so flood advisory in effect for Osceola County till 7:45. Minor flooding, low-lying areas. Doppler radar indicating heavy rain due to thunderstorms. Minor flooding is ongoing or expected to begin. 1.5 to 2 inches of rain with an additional 1 inch. So 2.5 to 3 inches of rain. Not crazy high, but enough to cause a problem, right? In some of these spots. Northwest side, right here. Kissimmee, Bay Lake, Celebration, Four Corners and Champions Gate. The areas we've been talking about, guys. So flood advisory is in effect until 7:45. For minor flooding of low-lying areas and poor drainage areas, and I would include I-4 in that for ponding on roadways. Richard says, been in Florida 18 years. The weather is changing and trying to sit in the sun. It burns, not the same. I'm in Melbourne. Fair? Yeah, I'm not expecting it to be gangbuster flooding, but when a cell is slowly moving like this, is a concern. It does appear that the highest reflectivity is beginning to move out of that area, thus the heaviest rain is, but these still got some pretty good rain along I-4 and east. So that's where we could pick up that additional inch and a half, and you get into the 2.5, 3 inch total, maybe even some slightly higher amounts than that in isolated spots, and that's your flood risk. Davenport, Haines City, Winter Haven, again, non-severe. Anywhere else in our southwest areas, Hillsborough, Manatee, Sarasota, we're looking good. I mentioned Sebring earlier. Again, that line is trying to basically hover just west of you, but if you do live on the west side of Sebring, we have some folks who tune in from there. It's darn close. Not a lot of forward speed. Good thunderstorms south of Lake Okeechobee. Then you get a break in the action and you get back to the thunderstorms south side of Jacksonville and St. Augustine. Again, if you're just tuning in, this yellow polygon is a risk or a potential development area for the National Hurricane Center for next week off of our East Coast, all right? Anywhere from basically Brevard County north. What is potentially going to happen is that as a weak boundary moves into the Gulf Stream, basically just off the East Coast, we get a little bit of spin developing here that could actually back build west So kind of moving from east to west, closer to our coast or Georgia's coast. Just a 20% chance. I think development is very marginal right now and very conditional. There's a lot of dry air that is forecast to also be on the north side of this, if there is some kind of cyclogenesis with this. So we'll see, but it's about as low as we get, but can't rule out something to our east next week. Regardless of that, this entire boundary is going to be working its way into the northern part of the state and potentially could slip into our area. And with that, the enhancement of some thunderstorm activity. So this whole boundary going to be working its way off to the south could provide us with an opportunity for some additional storms and storm coverage on Monday and Tuesday. Not necessarily severe, but more widespread. And that's exactly what we need. We will take the widespread storms, and if we can avoid the severe weather, we're good to go. Bye, Dallas. Take care, buddy. Have a good one. SLCs towards the Kissimmee area. Yep, I'm sure we got some scary looking clouds heading there, no doubt about it. You know, a little notch with that, but I'm still not concerned about it. By notch, I mean, you can just see this little curlicue right here. Some decent winds. It's a little bit more congested here, a little bit of red, but nothing that has strong winds associated with it. We're talking about rotation. You can see again, just that little notch right there. It's likely just a little push of wind. So what happens here is sometimes you can get just one area where the winds are a little bit stronger and it pushes it out. That's along an edge. We'll call that a bow echo. But you know, what you'd have to watch out for, of course, is that if these winds want to spin back in, and that's why you have this void in the radar right here, is because you've got a little bit of spin on the north side of that notch. But I don't see too much. In other scenarios, I'd be a lot more concerned about a radar signature that looks like that. Thank you, Stormcat. We're powering through. Almost hitting the 7 o'clock hour. If you're with me, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you taking part of your Saturday, joining me here on the channel. Again, just covering these storms as the sea breeze got going about an hour and 45 minutes ago or so. There has been one cluster of storms that have held together a little bit longer right now, and they're slowly working their way east. I'll say this: if you have dinner plans and evening plans in downtown Orlando or any areas as far south right now as like MCO, Lake Nona, maybe Oak Ridge, Millennia, Winter Garden, the Hamlin area, Windermere, you're good. All right. No additional activity is expected. Everything is moving away from you. It's a little bit trickier south and east right now, right? Still some good lightning and storms over Lake Buena Vista. Still not fantastic over the attractions. It's improving. But again, right where the attractions are in the Lake Buena Vista area, still a heck of a lot of lightning in the last 15 minutes. So I hope folks are, minding their P's and Q's here. iDrive would be included in this as well, down 535, 417 into Hunters Creek. That's the northern extent of where the weather is still concerning. Additional storms are beginning to pop up ahead of this. Now east of Kissimmee over East Lake Tahoe, St. Cloud. So you can just see a little bit of kind of development out ahead of the main line. And additional non-severe storms also developing south right now, Haines City, Winter Haven, northern Lake County. So it's kind of interesting that you've had this little boop, 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 pop up in just the last 5 or 10 minutes. Now we're back into some rural areas here in northeast County with the third cell, but shows you that there's still a little bit of juice out ahead of this to fire this up. And that little cell right there is getting going. Right across the turnpike, 192 interchange. Teresa says, here comes the rain. I hope you get what you need, Teresa, and I hope it's not too bad. I'll bring on the wind gusts again. Still just 24 at Kissimmee. You can still see the lightning from our Lake Buena Vista camera. This is looking back down and cutting through this storm from that shot. Hey, Jody, how you doing? Jody says, we live off of iDrive, getting some very serious lightning, too close for comfort with a lot of rain in Orange County. Thank you, Jody. Appreciate you joining the channel, and thank you for taking a quick second and letting all of us know in the comments section below what's happening. Again, this is an interactive channel, guys. This is why I do it. This is why you guys are tuned in. This is why it's a much different experience than watching it on your television. We can chat. We can interact with each other. You can ask me questions. Everyone can see the chat, so you can send along basically your storm report or what's happening in your area, and that all helps out our community. And that's what we're trying to build, is the best weather community here in Central Florida with this real-time information for you guys, so you can plan and prepare and get ahead of these storms and know what's coming your way. I don't know if it's Natalie or Natalia, because again, all of your handles get all smushed together now because, unfortunately YouTube shows your handles and not your usernames. The question is, so it looks like St. Cloud is going to get hit. The answer is very likely, yes. I mean, this storm is just off towards the west of St. Cloud. Obviously, if you look to the west, you're going to see a very sharp line of dark clouds with lower bases. SLCs, I call them scary looking clouds, but this is all building off slowly to the east. And when I mean slowly, I mean grudgingly slowly, right? Where we've even had the opportunity for a little bit of flooding in some of these areas because of the very slow movement of that cell. I'll show you guys that movement. I'll just bring up our over the last couple hours. So if you're just tuning in, Seabreeze collision, very prominent up in Lake County. And then this whole line has just slowly moved south while trying to ever so subtly move to the east. So clearly the motion has been more south than anything, with just a touch east movement, which is why it's like agonizing in the St. Cloud area. Be like, all right, it's likely to come. Now again, it's 7 o'clock. We still have about an hour plus of daylight this time of the year. That's heat energy for these storms to continue. When you lose the daylight, you lose the heat energy, the storms typically die out a little bit as far as their intensity. All right, guys. I'm going to bring up this quad box. I'm going to take a very quick break, but I'll be back in just 1 second. So stay with me. I'll be right back. Okay, so back again, watching this cell. Really kind of the only game in town, but at this point in time too, it's still a pretty significant storm. Special weather statement continues for it. The lightning count continues to be quite prolific. If you do live in Kissimmee or Buenaventura Lakes or the St. Cloud area, pretty significant storm headed your way. Again, gusty winds, a lot of lightning associated with it. The opportunity for enough rainfall, we're going to have some localized flooding. I'm not expecting it to be extremely prominent, extremely widespread, but ponding and roadways, low-lying areas, picking up the areas that typically flood the quickest are likely to still be the ones that will pick up some of that water. Still seeing a good amount of lightning right now, Lake Buena Vista area. Still some over the attractions. It's not completely clear yet. If you are a local and you like to head to the fireworks displays, still think overall we're looking pretty good, but the later you can wait, just a little bit safer you'll be. Obviously, again, sunset's pretty late this time of the year. I don't know exactly when the fireworks displays are. They probably changed the time with the timing of sunset, but still a lot of flashes of lightning here from Lake Buena Vista. That storm is just not fully cleared this area yet. Not a lot of heavy rain left over, but there have been several lightning strikes. A lot of lightning strikes right over the attractions in the last 15 minutes. Timmy says, trying to make Lake Wales area. Yeah, it's getting close. Hey, True Warrior Jesus, Winter Garden's looking just fine right now. I'll take you to our live Winter Garden camera. Still kind of the overcast skies, kind of the blowover clouds from the storms that were left over. A little bit in the way of some little cloud coverage there at the foreground, but it's all kind of congested and nothing is going to reorganize. There's no vertical lift. Likely to be an absolutely gorgeous sunset. If the skies are clear enough here in the western side of Orange County, you're likely to get an absolutely gorgeous sunset out of it. All right, go back over to our quad box. Not a quad box, but our 3 box with our cameras. Still 4 boxes, but just 3 cameras. All right, let's reset this too. Again, just holding on to a storm that is just sticking around, showing its teeth. Heavy rain, Buenaventura Lakes, a lot of lightning still. This is what I'm talking about in Lake Buena Vista. If I just zoom into Lake Buena Vista, there's just greens and yellows left, but there's still been 60 lightning strikes in the last 15 minutes just in this view. So it's still not very safe to be out and about the attractions. I know folks probably are, but just because the worst part of the storm has moved away from you does not mean that it's not there. And again, there are lightning strikes that are well north too. And the interesting thing is, if I really felt like it, we could actually even query each lightning strike. Literally tell you the energy produced by each lightning strike. I don't know how much of a practical purpose it shows us, but it's kind of a neat thing, this neat tool that we can do. A lot of different things that this system can do for you guys, and that's one of them. So again, the special weather statement goes for the next 15 minutes. I want to make sure. So I want to keep an eye on these winds. So now Kissimmee's up to 36. That report was at 656. So it is the new update from Kissimmee. Solid wind, 36. Look, not damaging for the most part. Tree limbs down with that kind of wind. Gusts that could be higher. A power outage here or there. Could knock down some unsecured loose objects in your yard. But this is not the kind of wind that's going to cause widespread damage. But the special weather statement does go up to 50. Again, a little bit of hail here and there ingested within this. If anyone has saw some pea-sized hail, let me know in the comment section below as well. Appreciate you passing that along. And again, the other situation with this, and this is what I wanted to show, was just on a county-by-county basis, there is a flood advisory for Osceola County that goes for the next 40 minutes. It is mainly the northern areas of Osceola County, all right? Celebration in the Buenaventura Lakes area. And again, it was for 2.5 to 3 inches of rain total. They expected another inch on top of 1.5 inches to 2. Four Corners, Bay Lake, Champions Gate included within this flood advisory. I-4, again, not a great place. Notice how skies have cleared in Conway. Will be a beautiful evening ahead there. Blue Goose, you getting any storms? Getting close to you, my friend. They were able to back build east to the east coast up there in St. Johns County. If you live in Flagler County, might get close. Palm Coast, trying to build a little bit south of where that polygon is right now. So that's an indication that the cells are trying to develop a little bit farther south, but still real spotty. And although the storms continue to propagate and work their way south of here, they are not severe right now. Davenport, Haines City, Winter Haven, that's the good kind of rain we could use in those areas. You know, temperatures even at 7 o'clock right now are still in the lower 80s here. Still enough juice to support some stronger storms. Kissimmee's a rain-cooled 73. MCO is in at 82 right now. Other areas that have not seen some rain, like the far east coast and the far west coast. Look at Crystal River still in at 90 degrees at the hour. Same thing for the Spring Hill area. Zephyr Hills is in at 91. Again, sea breeze collision today, my friends, just west of I-4, producing these prominent storms. Blue Goose says it's trying. That's correct, Blue Goose, yes. Charles Lee says heavy lightning right now in Remington and the Kissimmee. Appreciate that. Thank you, Charles Lee. Yep, Kissimmee's getting pounded. It's a good storm right over the Kissimmee area as we speak. Special weather statement, winds could be up to 50. Again, we had the 36 at the last check there. So solid winds, just a good thunderstorm. I'm hoping that it doesn't pulse up any more than this at 7 o'clock. With this area kind of filling in a little bit more, there's likely not to be so. We've had a couple of cells propagate and develop east over Buenaventura Lakes, East Lake Toho area. Again, a lot of lightning still associated with that. That's still to me is the biggest story. I know there's been some wind, it's been nasty, but these are rowdy storms when it comes to the lightning. I mean, you're talking about still well over 500 lightning strikes in just this view. And if I back it out just a little bit more, we're up to 900 lightning strikes still. So the lightning count has not diminished much in the last couple of hours. There has been a cell that has redeveloped over the Lake Nona area. It's not severe, but it is basically close to the airport or close enough. So there is some rain developing over a very populated area, the southeast side of Orlando. Just a little gurgling up of a cell there. Should not be too intense, but this could pulse up, produce a little bit of lightning, and rain itself out pretty quickly. But just another little spot to watch out for right there. And again, this special weather statement will go for the next 5 minutes. I'm going to track this out one more time at a grudging, just turtle pace of 5 miles an hour. And with that, and I apologize, I mean, with that, it's like, I mean, 5 miles an hour, and it's St. Cloud at 7:38. Now that's downtown St. Cloud, but it has taken well over an hour since it got into Kissimmee for it to start to sniff St. Cloud. And they're not too far away, as you guys know. So for the downtown St. Cloud area, again, about 24 minutes away for you guys, counting down to the second. So our friends at Kissimmee letting you know, we've had some gusty winds there, a lot of lightning, scary looking clouds, a rowdy storm. Hopefully, it continues to lose a little bit of punch. Hopefully, it brings you guys some good rain, and that's it. Notice again, even north of Lake Buena Vista, there is still some lightning at the hour. Don't discount that under this veil of cloud coverage north, that there still can't be an isolated lightning strike. Certainly not as prominent, but not out of the question. Boy, if I owned the storms, if they were Rusty's rowdy storms and I literally owned them, could you imagine how rich I would be just to point them? Or, you know, who needs some rain? All right, we'll just move it in that direction. That would be nice. Lake Wales and Lake Placid, yes. So if you do live down south, the storms are building now as far south as Lake Wales. Right, we've been talking about the storms digging deeper into Polk County. So Davenport, Haines City, not severe, good cluster of storms, but not severe. And then another area detached from this, which are close to Sebring and Lake Placid, but they've never made it that far east again. They are likely to not. They are likely to probably, as we're pushing now past 7 o'clock, to kind of rain themselves out before it's all said and done. Okay? Can't rule out something, but notice Lake Placid is slightly east of Sebring on the map anyway, and the storms are farther west. Sebring close, Lake Placid not as much. Arcadia, yes. Other areas west towards Port Charlotte, Fort Myers, absolutely. Again, likely to not get anything too organized here, but just a really good storm, 27 east, down in these areas. So our special weather statement will go for the next 2 minutes. You can clearly see a couple of little cells have developed north and east of these spots. Again, these might pulse up, but I'm not expecting them to take over, and be too much. Some of the activity has now expanded east of our polygon. Again, over Lake Toho, Medical City. There's the 417 Narcoossee included in this too. And again, just a good late day storm moving into your area. Hey, Richard. Big thunderstorm, a lot of rain this morning in Melbourne. Yes, there was some activity early today. And I hope you got what you needed and hope it wasn't too much. West Coast ran the same situation as well. And then the sea breezes came inland, and then the biggest collision this afternoon was just west of I-4. But we have had a couple of showers develop in the morning hours in some spots. So I'm glad you got some of that rain, and I hope it wasn't too much for you. All right, again, worst part of this cell now beginning to get into St. Cloud. 191 is going to be your turnpike. There's 192. Down the road, if this holds together and it's a slow mover, we'll see. Harmony, Holopau would be next included. You can still see some lightning strikes from our Lake Buena Vista camera. It's a really interesting sky right now from Winter Garden. Neat little shot there. You can see there's a little bit of texture to some of those low-level clouds. And in the background, you have what's likely to be just an absolutely gorgeous sunset. Hey, Nicole, says Kissimmee, it's popping off. Yeah, likely to be a lot of lightning in the Kissimmee, Campbell, Buenaventura Lakes area for the next half hour or so. Again, just a good Florida storm. I'm not too worried, but not out of the question that, you could see some heavy rainfall. Again, a little bit of a flood advisory just northwest of you as well. Just really interesting sky here from Winter Garden right now. I just want to stick on that for a second. Pretty cool shot. Again, even a little bit of vertical development to the cloud coverage on the horizon makes for a neat shot. I tell you, if that sticks around as the sun is setting, you're going to get some beautiful hues in the sky. If you live in this area, live in Lake County, look off towards your east, might be a sight to behold. Okay. So here we are right now, 7:15. Special weather statement has been allowed to expire. Let me again reiterate and be very clear. Special weather statements, severe thunderstorm warnings have nothing to do with the amount of lightning or the amount of rain that's being produced out of these storms. The only two criteria are the winds and the hail size. You get to 60-mile-an-hour winds and orange-size hail, they're going to issue a severe thunderstorm warning. Less than that, it could be a special weather statement, which is what we've had the majority of the time, although we did have a severe thunderstorm warning up in Marion County and portions of Lake County and areas to our south. So this storm is still quite prolific with nearly 1,000 lightning strikes in the last 15 minutes. But we don't have a severe thunderstorm warning and we don't have a special weather statement. The one thing that we continue to monitor up until 7:45 is going to be the flood advisory on the northwest side of the area. In the middle of Manor, just south of St. Cloud, we need the rain bad. Nicole says she's also near East Lake Toho. So I appreciate our friends in Osceola County letting me know what's going on. This is definitely the worst area right now, where we mentioned St. Cloud, East Lake Toho, Kissimmee, Buenaventura Lakes. It's a solid part of the storm at this point in time. Down the turnpike, 192, pretty hefty. Now, let me be clear. Stay inside. Let it pass you by. You should be just fine. I don't expect the winds to be so prominent within this storm, they're going to cause damage. Could there be enough rain where we end up getting a little bit in the way of some localized flooding? Yes. We've had that north and west of you as the storm has pushed through, like Champions Gate and Celebration areas. But in general, this is just a really solid storm here. As we get closer to sunset, we're likely to see these cells begin to die out. So the farther east that you live, right, east that you live, likely these storms will die before they get into your area. Obviously, outside of Kissimmee, St. Cloud, maybe Harmony, I'm not even sure as far south as Holopole, but east of 27 into Polk County and that far south in Osceola County, we get into fairly rural areas. There are some population centers here, but not nearly as much. So the majority of the storms are trying to, work their way out of the area right now. Interesting thing is yeah, I was like, I swore I heard a rumble of thunder. So it is interesting, Again, a little bit of texture to these clouds in Winter Garden. Could be a little something trying to get going again, but everything's just so kind of flat. Outside of the activity seen along the horizon, that's just so far away. But a really turbulent sky right now on the western side of Orange County. If you live there, check it out. Lady Q, I'm going to call you Lady Q. This is in St. Cloud. Rain combining with bands, 20-mile-an-hour winds, 192 and Neptune roads, lightning consistent. Thank you for the report. I appreciate that. Cool says I'm on the porch. Well, you know what? If you're safe, if you're away from, you don't want to be outside, but I get it. Porch is not a horrible place to watch. Now, again, you notice that some of the cells have been able to develop back north of the 417. So we've seen a little bit in the way of a few cells developing north and east of this cluster. So it's kind of filling in again, but there's not even a special weather statement with this right now, guys. This is just more generalized storms. Again, I don't want to take anything away. Some of it's on the nasty side, but we're not likely to see any damage out of any of this, and hopefully it rains out in the next hour or so. I want to, again, reiterate the fact that if you're just tuning in, there is a potential tropical development area here in the polygon in yellow. I'm going to bring on the infrared satellite imagery here. I would bring on the visible satellite imagery, but I think we're pretty much done with that right now. Just a little bit left. So look, this is not, and let me be clear, this is not for the short term. Down the road, a front coming off the coast could stall out, produce some genesis along the front, which actually back builds west. And there's a 20% chance from the National Hurricane Center that could become something tropical. That does include kind of our eastern areas along the coast, Georgia coastline, South Carolina coastline. It's something I'm going to monitor for the week ahead. This would be like, maybe a little bit, beginning to pop its head early next week and then through mid to late next week. Now, because we're going to be on the southwest side of this, we're likely to not be impacted much by it regardless of development, but I'm not very robust on that chance. Actually going to be a lot of drier air getting ingested into that. And so the chance for it to actually become something truly tropical is fairly low at this point in time. But I'll monitor the situation. Of course, anything tropical in our area, I'll be covering for you guys live on the channel as well. But I wanted to give you guys a heads up. You've probably seen that yellow polygon over my head a lot today. That's what that is, a low 20% lemon from the National Hurricane Center for potential tropical development over the next 7 days. Now, regardless of tropical development with this, the weak boundary is going to get into the northern and maybe our northern areas of the state. That is likely to enhance the rain chances for both Monday and Tuesday. We may not have a lot of severe weather, but I do expect storm chances to increase, rain chances overall, and I'll be watching both of those situations for you guys very prominently. Okay, so watching this, but no special weather statements have been reissued with it. So at this point in time, while the storms are strong, we have not seen them re-intensify and produce special weather statements or severe thunderstorm warnings. So I'm going to go ahead and end this live stream in a couple of minutes. Again, if you do live in St. Cloud, it's a really solid storm. Let it pass you by before you head out. On the southern sides of Orange County, even back to 417, it's a good storm. Watch out for the lightning. Still seeing some lightning strikes over Lake Buena Vista. Hopefully beginning to slowly improve here. And again, through the 8 o'clock hour, once we lose the heat of the day, this should all begin to fall apart a bit. I'll monitor the situation. If for some reason these storms re-intensify, if necessary to come back on the air, I'll let you know. But for our friends in these spots, just get prepared for a very solid Florida thunderstorm in your area here until about the sunset hour. As we leave, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Do me a quick favor, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't as of yet. Again, live only channel, so have the notifications on so you'll know when I'm live, reason to tune in. Thank you to our members as well. You want to become a member, support the channel that way. You can do so by clicking on the button and becoming a member. We got a new member earlier in the chat. I want to shout out again Michael for becoming the newest member of the Storm Squad. Again, you get access to custom badges and emojis, but also exclusive short member videos. So I'll put some videos together in between these live streams and let you guys know my behind the scenes thoughts or when I might next be on live. Appreciate all the moderators as well. All right, guys, have a great rest of your Saturday evening. Whenever there's impactful weather again across Central Florida, I'll be back on live for you guys. Again, thanks for hitting the like button on the way out. Have a great rest of your Saturday night. I'm sure I'll see you soon. Take care.